I'm Lucy Edwards, Director of Strategic Engagement at Metaport and VHT Studios. And today I am here with Scott Fishman, and you are the principal of Fishman Group at Worth Clark Realty.
Yes, thank you. Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So a few words about the company.
Sure. So Worth Clark is headquartered in St. Louis. We're in 9 states right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been with the brokerage almost a year. And one of the things that really was attractive to me was it is all employee and broker owned. So everyone, whether you're an agent or you're a transaction coordinator or an accounting person, all have the opportunity to actually buy into the company and be an owner. And so that was really an unusual situation in the real estate world.
It is definitely unusual, and I'm sure it's very attractive for employees, staff, and for real estate professionals.
Absolutely. So, I mean, myself, it was something that was really attractive. I've been at other brokerages where you can, at some point, buy stock.
Mm-hmm.
When they go public, there's all of that to deal with. I still have stock from previous brokerages, but also as a team lead, as something to offer to new people to the team, it's a pretty powerful tool. So beside the stock or ownership,
Mm-hmm.
they also do 100% commission.
Oh.
So their model is very a la carte. So if you want additional services, you kind of pay for them as you go on a transaction basis, as opposed to we're going to charge you, a monthly fee or a desk fee or a franchise fee. And whether you use it or not, you're paying for it, which I've been down that road before too. So,
okay. Well, how do they make their money?
I think it really is the flat transaction fee. So every deal, and then there is a cap to that. So once you hit a certain number, that gets waived. So I'm happy to say that our team has hit our number.
Okay.
So we have about 5.5 months of free transactions, so to speak. I think that's really their main model and then they do charge for these other services,
Mm-hmm.
but as an agent, you kind of pick and choose how much support do you really want.
Well, that's a great opportunity.
It is
to grow your business, and you know what to count on, and so that's.
Yeah, and I think I wouldn't recommend that necessarily as a brand new agent. I think that would be a pretty hard leap to make. But as someone that's been doing this for, I think 14 years. I think that's right.
Yeah.
It's all blurs. I think that's 180 in realtor years. But you get to a point where you really just want to run your team, run your business the way you kind of want it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really the kind of agents they're really looking for are people that have a book of business, have some experience, and they support, their guardrails are out here,
Mm-hmm.
and they let you to kind of just drive how you want to drive.
And how did you land in real estate 14 some years ago?
So the origin story, so I had been in advertising and PR for 20 plus years at a number of big agencies here in Chicago. And then I started my own branding and graphic design company and started going to networking events. And there was a networking group that met every week for breakfast. And it was one of those groups where they had one of each kind of person.
Right,
so I was the
right.
marketing person. There was a residential realtor. And we just started chit-chatting and met for coffee and really became very good friends. And then I started doing some marketing work for her and helping her build her new website. And at some point, we would get together, maybe once every 5 or 6 weeks to, get together, kind of have the complaint fest about clients and, everything. And she was just like, if you ever get out of your industry, you should just get your license and come work with me. And it was kind of just thrown out there. And I just sort of hit the wall. I was really burnt out in the advertising
Mm-hmm.
marketing universe. And we met for coffee again. I'm like, remember about 6 months ago, you said that, I should just come work for you? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, so what do you really think about that? And I did the 2-week intensive class where I was like in a classroom 8 hours a day for 2 weeks.
To get your license?
Get my license with the Chicago Association of Realtors. And it's like the first time I've been in a classroom in a long time. And that was the spring of, I think that was 2012. I think that's right. 2011 or 2012. anyway, my friend Jane and there were a couple other realtors that they weren't an official team, but they kind of helped each other out. And they were unbelievably supportive and helpful. It was in the middle of the spring market, so they were swamped. And they basically just kind of gave me all their crumbs, right? Renters, people that didn't call them back, open houses, listings. They both co-listed a bunch of properties just to get me going. And I really learned so much from the three of them and their generosity and their time and knowledge. And you know, as a new agent, you're ready to grab everything.
Right.
So
That's
that was
a great way to learn.
It was a really
especially
great way to
if there
learn.
are so many issues and problems, and you are solving and resolving. Yeah.
100%. And one of Jane's always mentions, she's like, go to every event you can go to, whether it's an open house or you're meeting the plumber or an inspection. Go to your closes, because she's like, every deal is unique. And she was 100% right. Like, there are never two deals that go the same way. And it's a good they're always good learning experiences.
Good learning experience. What about your team, Scott? So when did you start your own team?
So I started my own team, my last brokerage. So that would have been about 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, the catalyst for me was just seeing how the market was shifting. And having been that solo brand new agent, and you just get kind of thrown into the deep end. And there's a lot of the older school brokerages that are like, here's some business cards, go sell some real estate, and it's a hard job. It's a really hard job. And especially those first 2 years, like any other new business, right? You're ramping up, you're trying to figure out all these things. So when I moved to the new brokerage, I really felt like the bandwidth, like having more people so we can respond to our clients, so we can all be more available, was really critical. And just the way the industry has changed, well, every year, but certainly from when I started to where we are now, I just feel like that service bandwidth was really the catalyst for me to start the team.
So how many agents do you have on your team?
So right now it's myself and 2 other agents.
Okay.
And it's been a very busy summer. So I have kind of put recruiting further down the list. But for the fall, it's pretty high on my list. I really would love to find at least 2 agents that have a little bit of book of business, get them settled in the fall, get them ready for spring market. And, they could be people that are tired of being a solo person on an island. Maybe their team or their brokerage isn't giving them the direction or support that they feel like they need. And, they're out there. So
would you like to go wide? Like, are you interested in covering other markets, or you have your own market but just have more people on the team?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, I think for us to start in the Chicago metro area, I'm a lifelong Chicagoan.
Oh, okay.
So there is a osmosis knowledge of neighborhoods and seeing things change. I went to school here in the city at DePaul, and just seeing those neighborhoods change in the last, I hate to say it, 40 years, it is pretty amazing. So I think that's the start, is really finding the right fit, people that really have the right outlook of, do you want to be on a team? Are you willing to push your ego down a little bit? Right? It's a giant ego industry, as you are painfully aware of, right? And is it better for the team and we all grow versus just my name's on the door and it's all about me? And that's just not really.
And chemistry is important when you have a team. It's not just about you and someone else you are hiring. It's also someone else you are hiring, or not really hiring. You're still all self-employed,
right?
But someone else you are inviting to be part of your team, and they have to get along with everyone else. So it's
absolutely. And then there's the part of my name literally is on the door, so to speak. And so how are those new agents going to manage their clients? What is their service approach? What is their relationship building with their clients? Has to be in line. And so it is
consistent with what you are offering at this
for me,
time.
right? Exactly. You know, obviously there's, I think, 18,000 licensed agents in the Chicago metro area. Everybody's got their different idea. Our little part of the universe is really about the service and the relationships
and the final consumer, the client, the
absolutely
buyer, the
right.
seller.
And how do we interact with those people? And I think finding agents that are of a similar approach.
Mm-hmm. What about technology and your platform that the company is offering?
Sure. So Worth Clark, one of their models is really finding partners.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of them is KV Core, which is giant CRM. So that comes with, as an agent, that we just get a subscription to that. So that's been really helpful. We have a number of other partners, and one of them we're working on is VHT, and we can talk about that. But I really like that idea that as opposed to you paying for all of this right out of your commission or out of your monthly fee.
Right. Regardless whether you use it or not.
Exactly. So we're going to establish these relationships, and if you want to engage, great. It might be free or it might be an upcharge, but you as an agent can make that decision if that's the right fit. And I think that's a really grown-up way to...
I like how you said that. It's a grown-up way.
Grown-up way to manage your business. And I think especially if you've been a realtor for a while, like you've seen all these different avenues, and sometimes that model isn't what resonates for each agent.
So the market is changing and evolving daily. And it's, some people say shifting market, some say that it's the market of opportunities. And especially for you now, if you would like to grow your team, that is a great opportunity. So how are you adjusting yourself? And like I see that you do have a business plan that you would like to grow your team in the fall. How are you adjusting with the market?
Yeah, I think it's evolution, right? As opposed to change. I mean, maybe we're splitting hairs here, but I do think the real estate universe continues to evolve. Mm-hmm. It's been through technology, right? So I think you and I were talking about this. So when I was started, people were still signing up for desk time.
Right.
And, you know, the new agents look at you like, what are you talking about? In the idea of people actually stopping by a real estate office to talk to a realtor and look in the window and see what pictures are up. So that evolution's pretty quick. I mean, we're talking about 10 or 15 years going from that concept to everyone's on their phone at 11 o'clock, sitting in bed, scrolling through what their new home looks like. So I think for us as agents, that evolution, we had to try to be at least at the front of it, maybe half a step ahead of it, you know. So again, it really was a big catalyst for me starting the team, because you could see that's where the whole market's going, right? The expectations of our clients are pretty immediate. I look at it on the phone. I like this house. I want to go see this house. Mm-hmm. So who can get me into this house tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock? And if it's just you as a solo practitioner, you can really only be so many places at once. So I think having that bandwidth was, like I said, really the catalyst for me to start the team on a service level, and just being responsive to like, oh, I can't be there, but somebody on my team can get you into the house. They're going to treat you just like I would treat you, and we're going to build a relationship with our team. And I think that's the model, at least for us. So that is your adjustment to the market and how you want to grow. You want to grow your team, yourself, your business. So yeah, absolutely. What about the brand new agent, someone who comes to the industry? What would you recommend for them to start with? Well, I think a lot of things we talked about. I would say to really try to interview at a bunch of different brokerages.
So
get yourself out there with either a managing broker or a couple different team leads just to have these conversations. Personally, I would try to find a team that fits with you. So if you have a nice conversation with a team lead and there's some common denominators, that's probably a really good place to start. It's, like I said, I mean, it's a really hard job, and there's so much to learn no matter what industry you're coming from, or if this is your first job.
Mm-hmm.
I think having some structure of some sort, having a mentor, having, the real estate Yoda, so to speak, to go to, I think as a brand new agent is really critical, because I just feel like our market shifted enough that coming out brand new licensed business cards by yourself, it's certainly doable. I just think it's very, very tricky.
And I totally agree with you. I think the team is a great solution for a brand new agent. First of all, just like you learned from your colleagues.
Yeah.
And maybe they were throwing at you something that they didn't want to do, but it's okay.
Absolutely.
You learned the hard way and you remember. So it's important. I totally agree with you. I also would think that for a brand new agent, it would be important to stick to the schedule and create that schedule and stand by it. I think that is something that I'm suffering with my schedule. So I know that if someone told me that many, many years ago that should be your priority, I would probably be much better by now.
I think we all struggle with it, right? The idea of time blocking and really having things on your calendar to do and then doing them. Yeah, it's a foreign concept. I think for people that haven't been self-employed or freelanced somewhere, if you're going from a 9-to-5 job directly into real estate, I think it's a really hard transition.
Well, I always had my own business, and I still have very hard time creating a schedule.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm all over the place, and it's nothing to be proud about, but I'm working on it. I am.
Well, it's one of those things that's a good excuse, like when you're busy with clients, then the schedule gets to get, like shoved aside, like, I don't have time. I'm dealing with my clients. Yeah.
So suddenly your priorities are changing.
100%.
Well, I wish you, Scott, the rest of the year. Build your team, find the right fit and the right people that everyone would get along with, and you will have this happy family in a way. Happy working family.
There you go.
And all the best to you.
Well, I really appreciate that, and thanks again for taking the time with me.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank
all
you.
The best. Cheers. Cheers, everybody.